Hey Internet, it's Aaron, your personal driver, and today I'm doing a review on a book that I like from a author who I really like. It's the Rideshare guy, Harry Campbell. He has a blog and a YouTube channel. He puts out great rideshare information. He wrote a book. Is it any good? Let's find out. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit subscribe down below and the stupid YouTube bell icon so you can get notifications when I upload a video like this or go live. If you are a returning viewer, welcome. I love to have you back. Don't forget to watch me on Friday and Saturday nights when I do live ride-along streams inside my car when I'm doing Uber and Lyft. So before we get into this book, which I think is actually helpful, I think that a lot of people would benefit from this book. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on behind me. Look at this. We have a 49-inch ultra wide screen 4K monitor. Ooh, thought it might be fun to go down nostalgia's road. So let's look at the first studio setup I had in Washington here. The last studio setup I had before I moved to Berkeley here. The first video I ever did here, let's put that one here, when I moved to California. And then the almost finished version that I did here. And compare that to the setup I have going on. So I'm almost complete. Might be fun. Also, the background's going to be changing a lot. It's a 4K monitor. I'm kind of curious how it's going to look on camera. So I have a bunch of different pictures that I haven't seen yet, and I'm going to put that back there. So if it's distracting, I apologize. Let's go forward. So the first thing you'll notice about the Rideshare guide by the Rideshare guy is that it is a thin book. It's thin, not too big, paperback. I don't think he has a hardback edition. And the writing, let's see if I can get it focused in up here, is not too thick. So it's an easy read. It's not too tough. I really like it. It's kind of, I would call it almost like a rideshare guide for dummies. If you guys ever have read the For Dummies series, I actually have one here. YouTube for Dummies. This is I read this book. It's a long book before I started my YouTube channel, so I kind of would have an idea of what I was doing. I mean, I still don't really know what I'm doing, but it's a lot easier to read than this, a lot simpler than this, but it's similar in style. Basically, this is a book, I would call it 2 years of YouTube experience on here. It has, you can see it has chapters that I've highlighted here. I think it's 8. There's 10 chapters. There's 10 chapters. I think really what we should focus on are the chapter 2, which is really important, especially if you're new. How do I get started as a driver? I think that even veteran drivers who've been doing this for less than 2 years will get something out of this chapter. Chapter 5 is how do I maximize profits? And then finally in chapter 8, what does it take to be an independent contractor? Now I'm not going to give away everything in this book because I want you to go out and buy it. If I just simply read all of the pages to you, you wouldn't buy it. You watch this video and Harry wouldn't make any money. So that wouldn't be good. To give you an idea what's in the book, I did want to focus on some things that I found really interesting. So let's give you a little taste here of something that you would find. This is chapter 2. Yeah, he suggests 2 different items to purchase. The first is a phone mount and the second is a dash cam, which I thought was really important. I agree with that. I just wanted to point out to Harry, he said here, I haven't found a perfect camera for rideshare yet. One of the most popular models is the Falcon 360. No, the Falcon 360 is a shit model. Don't buy that camera. It's super popular. Hell, people do it. The footage on it is worthless. The audio on it is even worse. If you need the footage, you're not going to be able to get it. Those of you who watch my channel, you know there are only 2 cameras to get. I use the N2 Pro. Links obviously in the description of that. And there's also the Black 8650. When you're doing rideshare, you need both an inward-facing camera and an outward-facing camera. You probably want as close to high definition 1080p as you can get. And you want night vision. So those 2 cameras have it. If you see my channel, you already know this going ahead, so this is not going to be a surprise to you. So Harry, go ahead and stop creating this media empire you have and watch a couple of my videos. I'll cover you and give you the best camera suggestions going forward. My absolute favorite part of the book is going to be on page 74. And you'll see why here in a second. Ignore Uber Pool. We all know Uber Pool and Lyft line are the devil. He outlines this in this chapter here. I love that part. Now, the absolute best part of this book, I think, for drivers who aren't new, who have been doing this for less than 2 years, especially if you've never filed for taxes, is chapter 8. What does it take to be an independent contractor, including taxes? Okay, so this is where I think the book can be really helpful for people who have been doing this for a while, but maybe haven't been doing it for as long as I have or some of these other rideshare YouTubers have. It tells you what you need to do to run this like a business and not just like a job. It gets really in detail on how to help you write things off on your tax and stuff like that. And the tax information is really good. It's tricks I use. Definitely check that part out. Now, what are some things I didn't like about the book? So, personally, I didn't really learn anything from this book. Now, I've been doing this a long time, guys. Longer than I've been doing this YouTube channel. I'm coming up on 2 years on the YouTube channel. So, I'm like one of the steely vets. So, if you've been doing this rideshare thing for 3 years or more, you're not going to get a lot out of this book. This book is for people who are thinking about signing up for rideshare and want a how-to on how to do it. This book is for maybe people who do it part-time and don't have a lot of rides, but want to maybe get more into rideshare and make a little bit more money. People who are struggling. So if you're making minimum wage, less than $10 an hour, pick this book up. It'll help you with some tips and tricks. Watch my channel too. And then maybe full-time drivers who haven't been doing it for a full 2 years. So if you haven't filed your own taxes as a rideshare driver, definitely pick this up all the way up to being brand new. Another thing I do enjoy is he has these little things called pro tips. Like this one, if you get a bad attitude over the phone, then you will get a bad attitude when you're in your car. Cancel the ride. So not a lot of people are afraid to cancel, but if someone calls you and they're being a jerk, hang up the phone, cancel the ride, and pick up another one. The worst part of the book, and I think Harry makes a common mistake that a lot of drivers make when they're calculating their profits, both net and gross, when they're doing this. He has a chart here that's almost correct. He has miles driven, total earnings, gas costs, and net earnings, right? So those of you watching my channel, you know that's not how you do it. You have to find your cost per mile, how much it costs you to drive 1 mile, whether it's with someone in the car or dead miles with nobody in the car. You need to know how many miles you drive, what it costs to drive 1 mile, and then you subtract that from your total profits. And then you subtract that from the total earnings. And the thing that frustrates me is if you look here at the bottom, he has a link to his website where he finds out how you can calculate your per mile cost. So I know, like on the same page, he's contradicting himself. Gas should be considered part of your per mile cost. It's not like an independent expenditure on its own, okay? How much it costs to drive your car, how much gas it is, how much depreciation, all of those things, they all need to be considered in your per mile cost. That's why you track how many miles you cost. That's why I use SherpaShare. I'll put a link up there to some of the videos I've done on that. SherpaShare tracks your miles and other expenses, so it easily allows you to calculate how much money you're making. So a big mistake, I think, there on Harry, but I think that maybe it was just something he overlooked. Or the other thing I was thinking is a lot of new drivers or people who haven't been doing this and are just trying to get into it, maybe he didn't want to confuse them, so he's trying to keep it simple. But calculating how much gas you spend, like it's really not helpful. That should be calculated in how many miles you're driving. And yes, it's important to know what your MPG is, but if you're getting less MPG than you should be, then recalculate your per mile cost. Those should already be factored in there. I'll put a link here to one of the many videos I've done on per mile costs. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the worst part of the book. And it's funny, the worst part of the book is probably the most meaningless part of the book. Like if you didn't read it, you'd be fine. But it was a little offensive to me. And I think you'll see why here. He gives a list of the best blogs and YouTubers to follow. And I was a little shocked I'm not on here. Come on now, Harry. I am clearly one of the best rideshare YouTubers out there. I don't have a blog, so come on, man. Hook a brother up. So his suggestions for the best rideshare drivers or best rideshare YouTubers are obviously himself. I mean, it's his book. Obviously, he's going to say watch his YouTube channel. That only makes sense. And it's a good YouTube channel. I call it the CNN of YouTube. I call it the CNN of rideshare YouTube because it's really that good. Then he has Uberman. And I know that those two go way back, so it's not really surprising that he has them on there. If you're new, go check Uberman's channel out because he has a database with endless information. I mean, years and years and years of data on there, and you can go learn a lot from Uberman. But to call him a rideshare YouTuber, it's kind of a stretch. He doesn't really drive for Uber or Lyft anymore. He's not a rideshare driver. He just has a really successful YouTube channel that he does things on, some of which may or may not have anything to do with rideshare. So currently I wouldn't even consider him a rideshare YouTuber, but it makes sense they're friends that he'd list that. So that's a questionable one. Then he says a simple driver. Now, if you've seen my video of my favorite rideshare drivers, you know that I'm into Calvin. I think he's a good driver. He's been accused of maybe trying to game the system and not really being a driver, yada yada yada. But put all that aside, the information he puts out is good. So I agree that's a good place to go. And that's where we kind of take a turn for the worst. He has the Rideshare Professor in here, and I just cannot recommend any other channel less than that. I mean, really seriously, any other random YouTuber who has the word rideshare anywhere in any of their videos would be better than Rideshare Professor. Commonly known as the Referral Professor. I mean, just not a big fan. And then the absolute worst recommendation you can ever give anybody is Jermaine Ellis. Be connected! Don't watch Jermaine Ellis's video. Don't watch his channel. Don't listen to anything he has to say. I used to be a big, giant Jermaine Ellis fan. I watched every single one of his videos, but the dude gives you bad advice. If you don't know what BitConnect is, do a quick Google search on that. There are people who he helped basically bankrupt. He was like, hey, check this BitConnect thing out. You know, use my referral links. It's, you know, it's awesome, blah, 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 blah. And it was a giant scam. It was a pyramid scheme. BitConnect, if you've ever heard the guy say that before. BitConnect, and maybe I'll edit that into the video, we'll see. BitConnect! Yeah, but Jermaine was one of the people who helped push the referral codes for BitConnect, and I mean, he got some heat from it. He did. He visited another country, or as I like to call it, fled. He fled the United States to another country. I think it's probably because he was a little worried about the backlash from the BitConnect crashing. Also, a lot of the YouTubers who helped BitConnect are now part of investigation, and some of them are going to trial. So I think he was just trying to avoid all that nonsense. Now, I don't think he's actually getting in trouble, but anyway, here's the thing, guys. If you watch YouTube and somebody tells you to buy a bunch of stuff and then it turns out to be a scam and he was pushing the scam, you shouldn't watch his channel anymore. So I get why Harry would have these guys in his book. They're the biggest channels, right? So if you look for rideshare YouTubers, I mean, these are the guys. He didn't have Ryan is Driving. I don't know. That's the biggest channel. I mean, he's got like 500,000 subscribers. So maybe he just overlooked that. But really, the only ones you should watch are Calvin, a simple driver, Harry, and then not the other guys. I know it seems like a weird thing to quirp on, especially since it's not really important to the rest of the book. And also looks like a little self-serving because I am a rideshare YouTuber. I'm a little hashtag jealous. So yeah, but here's the thing. I'll give you 5 better rideshare channels. 1, Ryan is Driving. 2, Drive Girl Drive. 3, Uber DC. 4, The Savage Scientist. 5, Kevin the Opportuneur. So there are 5 better YouTube rideshare drivers. So next time you write a book, go ahead and consult me. I'll do it for free. I'll tell you the best camera to get, which is the N2 Pro or the Blackview 650, and the best YouTubers to watch, so you don't have to waste your time and ruin an otherwise really good book. So all in all, guys, definitely pick this up if you are considering starting to drive for Uber or Lyft, or if you are a newbie, you've only been doing this for less than a year, and you want some really good tips and tricks. There should be some links in below. Definitely check out Harry's website, because I'm pretty sure since he has a website, he'll be selling them there too. But in addition to links to how to purchase the book, you'll notice a link to Harry's website and his YouTube channel below. So I hope you guys liked this review. I didn't get paid for it. Harry was nice enough to send me the book, so at least I didn't have to go out and pay out of pocket for it. And that was my honest opinion. I think it's a good book. You guys should check it out. Deuces. Be connected! Whether it's someone with the car or someone without it, whether it's someone in the car or someone outside of the car. The first is, oh man, I like how my face gets dark when the screen is really light. I don't know what the deal is with that. I call it the CNN of ride. A little better.